imagination could no longer take me there. So I slid into my copying haberdashery and gave way to the original Jones. Sex. Now my sexy Jones was below sea level. The hornies occupied my being. I was at that stage where most men would say, hey ho, it's your life or your leg. But I was cooler than that. She said, no compute. I spotted a lady who was also on the prowl. I could tell by her makeup, plus the scent was there. So I sashayed over to her and spoke of my plan. She screamed and said, are you asking to make love to me? I say, is pig pussy pork? Or are you gonna play hard after all the trouble you went through to get chosen? She said, no compute. Finally she said, I could probably go for what you're talking about, but it's really about my birth control pill. I said, all looks are not alike, all hoes are not a crack. When in doubt, Vance, or at least that did. And of course, you know, spit don't make babies. She smiled and said, no compute. But I could tell she was giving it. So off we went. There was fun to be had, love to be made. Strange, I said to myself as I lay smoking a last joint before contentment ease into sleep. What a man will go for when the hornies set in. But suddenly as she laid there, mouth wide open, wig half off, snoring, breath smelling like a 1948 Buick, I was sick with the guilty, and she smiled in her sleep as if to say, all looks are not alike, all hoes are not a crack.
Good morning, everybody. It's Larsen Live. It is February 15th. Ponythroat asked if spit don't make babies and where did Nick Fuentes come from? I'm pretty sure Nick Fuentes is some sort of like, I don't know, he's some sort of like Ken doll that was animated by Dark Sorceries and is just incredibly fruity about it. Yes, anyway, that ties directly into what we opened up with. We opened up with No Compute by George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, or maybe it's just Funkadelic, or The Brides of Funkenstein. It's from the album Cosmic Slop. I don't know which particular permutation of the P-Funks this was. I am not as knowledgeable about the funk mythos as I should be. Yes, the Parliament Funkadelic mythologies are a rich and fascinating tapestry. There's the doo-doo chasers and Sir Nose devoid of funk and like the funk purges of outer space. It's a rich and fascinating tapestry. But that does vaguely tie into the title of the stream, the Popeyes and Don Julio Superbowl Bash. How does it tie into it, you ask? Well, because George Clinton is, I believe, the second most sampled artist in the hip-hop musics, second only to James Brown. And also, how does that tie into it? Well, because the Super Bowl was last week, and it was quite a superb bowl. Basically, the Philly Eagles, the Birds, won the day. The Chiefs were defeated, and Mr. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, was a bit upset about things. But obviously, I'm not going to talk about that. I could talk about sports, but I could also talk about socio-cultural and political implications. Yes, Popeyes Chicken and Don Julio Tequila have apparently started collaborating. It started on January 31st, and it is still going strong. They had the Popeyes and Don Julio Super Bowl bash. What's going on? I don't know, but apparently, they're selling alcohol at Popeyes now. Don Julio Tequila, at least. And there are literally videos of bottle girls, which is to say girls in thong leotards, showing up with flashing lights and dancing about for Popeyes and cheap tequila. This collaboration is a bit divisive. Many people on Twitter, many people in the Afro-American community are a bit upset at this. I'm hearing things like, we should just surrender now. The CIA won. We've lost. It's like the black community will never recover from this. SMH, shake my head. I'm ashamed of my people, etc., etc., etc. Shifty-eyed dog from The Simpsons. Animated GIF saying, the Popeyes X Don Julio collab. So, speaking of N-words, someone else says, I think performing at a Don Julio X Popeyes event, you deserve to be lynched. And so on and so forth. Now, of course, I'm not going to pass judgment, but, this is a bit, it's not great. It's really not great. I'm also seeing clips from some blaxploitation movie, which I keep seeing clips of, the N-larm, and they're losing their shit. Yeah, dare I say, I don't know. I don't think fried chicken fast food joints should be selling cheap tequila. Ponythroat put it to best. Somebody saw the average Popeyes customer and thought, what would make this better if they were drunk? Yes. Well said. This is like a word salad from Atlanta. This is like something that would happen in a Wattpad urban story. Clip from the Boondocks of Uncle Ruckus saying there is some powerful Afro engineering afoot. At the what? Another clip. Boy, some of us deserve to be slaves, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to pass judgment, but, this isn't great. I know I said that before, but this really bears repeating. I don't know what possesses somebody to say, you know what I should do? I should embody every negative stereotype of my people. But here we go. They have bottle service at Popeyes now. Yeah. Ponythroat then says Larsen is not up to date on the Funky Bunch lore. Shake my head. Excuse me, sir. P-Funk is not the Funky Bunch. Thank you very much. The only Funky Bunch lore you need to know is when Mark Wahlberg committed anti-Asian hate crimes when he was a young man. Well, I suppose if this increases Popeye's business, I can't really blame them so much. I mean, I personally don't approve of this, but I'm not a frequent Popeyes customer, so I can't really judge too much. I never even had Don Julio's tequila. I like Patron, personally, if I'm going to drink tequila. But what do you think, dear listener? What do you think about the Popeyes Don Julio Super Bowl bash? A sentence I never thought I would say, and yet here we are. I wasn't aware that tequila was a quote-unquote urban thing. I was associated more with like rural parts of Mexico personally. Video clips. A man shows up to Popeyes at 10 a.m. They're already drinking Don Julio with their chicken. Dare I say, I'm almost tempted to go to Popeyes and demand bottle service. I'm trying to think of when. I've probably eaten Popeyes chicken maybe 3 times in my life. I mean, if I'm going to get fried chicken, I'll usually go to some hole in the wall, which I always find has the better chicken. But, yeah, it's, strange things are afoot. I guess there is some. I guess in a way I can appreciate the savage splendor of it all. Anyway, Ponythroat says, due to having 2 vintage keyboards with interchangeable keycaps in different colors, I've highlighted the keys need to spell ginger. Are you a dyslexic, sir? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, there's strange things afoot in Popeyes chicken. I've seen videos of people fighting at Popeyes. I've seen people playing dice at Popeyes. Is the chicken really that damn good? I mean, I remember it being decent enough the few times I've eaten there, but no chicken is that good. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to more serious news. Shall we? Yes. So the Trump administration is, trumping it up, as we know. Trump has been proposing a trilateral agreement with China and Russia to mutually pare down their military budgets by 50%. One of the first meetings we want to have there is President Xi of China, Putin of Russia. Let's cut our military budgets in half. If this actually goes through, I think this might actually not be a bad idea. I also think we should cut down our military budget. I'm sick of having military bases everywhere. J.D. Vance had some choice words to say to Europe, and they were a bit upset about it. I mean, the United States basically is NATO, and to extend Europe is freeloaders. And, yeah, I agree with this. Let's pare down that military budget. Will this actually happen? I don't know. We shall see. People say this might just be empty blathering, which is a lot of what Trump does. But, I don't know. I know some people won't be happy. I see, dark picture of John Bolton, who's going to be furious at America cutting its military budget, because of course he would. Yeah, probably. My question is, how would we verify doing this? The answer is we can't. We just got to, assess and approve, whatever they call it. Ponythroat says, Is it named Popeyes because that's a description of the customer's resting expressions? Huge if true. I mean, from what I've seen, it's called Popeyes due to the large amount of fisticuffs that goes on within the walls of Popeyes. And yes, I am aware that Popeyes Chicken is actually named after Popeye Doyle from the French Connection, but I distinctly remember that Popeyes did used to use the Popeye cartoons in their advertising. Of course, they don't anymore because, I don't know, I guess the kids today don't really watch Popeye, which is a shame. And, you and I both know that it's because of the school marms. They don't like all the punching and the, smoking. So that's why Popeye hasn't done shit in the past 40 years. Narahari Kamas says the EU got singed by words. Scorched. LOL. Yes, J.D. Vance said that Europe is increasingly shuttering down free speech, and they were not happy about that. Again, it's not like America's doing that much better, but, yeah, he's not entirely wrong. A lot of Europeans hate American imperialism. I also hate American imperialism. I want us to not be involved in other people's affairs. I mean, I want us to not, spend U.S. aid on a bunch of stupid shit. And speaking of, there's been a bit of controversy about a woman in Burma. She died after her oxygen supply was cut off, and the United States announced a freeze on funding. Armin Domalewski says this is evil. I mean, look, obviously I'm sure this was a very nice woman, but I do have to question why the United States has to pay for medical expenditures for other people around the world and we don't do it for ourselves. I think, I will appreciate it if the Trump 2 administration makes this very clear. A lot of people seem to be under the impression that the United States is basically a tax farm for them. The United States has an obligation to serve the world. The entire world is entitled to our labor and taxes and military defense, for all eternity. I don't think so. I say, let's call their bluff. If you hate us so much, you hate our imperialism, fine, we'll leave. See how you like it. But, of course, knowing Trump, I don't think he's actually going to, become isolationist. Okay. Narahari Kamas says the EU is real bad when it comes to free speech. A lot worse than U.S. Yes, it is. There's a lot of problems in the U.S., but at least we don't put people in prison for maymays on Facebook. Yeah. People always wonder, why don't we have nice things in America? Well, gee, maybe we would have nice things in America if we didn't have to spend millions of dollars on Moroccan, transgender pottery classes. And that is literally something U.S. aid spends money on. And yes, I am aware that U.S. aid is in many cases a front for CIA meddling. But still, the money is being spent. Oh, we gotta have that soft power. I said this last week and I'll say it again. Any given episode of The Simpsons does more for American soft power than all the goddamn U.S. aid, transgender dance recitals put together. I mean, look at Japan. Little ooh-woo anime girls do more to project soft power than any direct meddling ever possibly could. Ponythroat says, the government cut off her oxygen supply like Jeffrey Epstein. Now Harkamass says, U.S. cut off funding and they ran out of oxygen? Yes, apparently so. I don't think any of those funds are going towards good causes, maybe a little bit of it. I mean, some of it was going towards, medical aid and stuff. Some of it was going towards, transgender comic books and promoting drag queen parades in Ecuador. And yes, that is literally a thing that happened. Not gonna lie, some things, emphasis on some things I do like about the new administration. Cutting the bullshit is one of them. Yeah, speaking of the European Union, let's check out what's going on there for a second. Breaking news. A convicted pedophile in Germany might have his sentence reduced because the government voted to lower the penalties for child porno possession. Jan Heiko Flor killed a 14-year-old girl after forcing her to supply him with sexual abuse materials. Let's read more about this. Okay. Yeah, so having CP is apparently it is a minor crime apparently. So yes, he murdered her and procured child pornography. So let's see. Okay. Let's see. So basically, he might have a right to release assessment after serving 20 years. Yeah, I can't say I'm into that. I mean, I am in favor of reforming the American justice system, certainly. You know, as I've said before, I think you could do a lot with, like, house arrest and fining and public caning. But when you rape and murder a teenage girl, yeah, you probably should be in prison. But yes, let's reduce CP penalties. Boy, Germans don't do things halfway. When they go left-wing, they go really left-wing. One can only assume that they're going to once again swing far to the right sometime soon. We all know what's going to happen then. Pointhroat says, nonsense strikes again. Yeah, there's a lot of nonces around. There's a lot of nonsense going around. And, what can be done? Yeah, people are a bit upset that J.D. Vance went to talk to not the mainline German government, but the AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, quote-unquote far right-wing party, which more aligns with his beliefs. I mean, if this is the standard for Deutschland, perhaps we do need an alternative. Just saying. Why are governments all around the world full of nonces? The world may never know. Speaking of terrible things going on, the first woman to use a suicide pod ever had to be manually strangled to death due to malfunction. Breaking news from, what country is this from? Let me see if I can find what country this happened in. Was it Switzerland? Yes, apparently this was in Switzerland. First woman to use a suicide pod was strangled to death due to malfunctioning. Yes, so, wait, no, it's, maybe this is fake news. But anyway, that's, I can see this happening. Just give me 1 second here as I fumble about. Okay, yes, so it's not known for sure yet, but 64-year-old American woman went to Switzerland. She intended to use a suicide pod. She may have been strangled. An autopsy found strangulation marks on her neck. So the pod, designed by Dr. Philip Nitschke, basically pushes the button, which releases nitrogen gas, which will peacefully and painlessly put you to death. Apparently, it malfunctioned, and someone had to step in and manually just strap a rope around her neck, which is not great. Whoops, my suicide pod malfunctioned. I mean, at least it wasn't done with by hands. At least doesn't one. Sorry, I'm misspeaking here. At least the strangulation wasn't done by hand. They just slap on the rear naked choke and just let her rip. Boy, this really is like something out of a Kurt Vonnegut novel or Futurama episode. Suicide pod is not working. Come back tomorrow. Wah, wah. In a very, very dark way, I find this absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to lie. Pointerthroat says, damn, the death pod wireless is not connecting quick. Channel David Carradine. It does sound fake, to be honest. Okay, so they don't know for sure if it happened, but the woman, it's suspicious is all I'm saying. And that's what the autopsy says. It might be suspicious. Or it is suspicious, but we don't know for sure. What else is going on in the world? I mean, we could talk more about man-made horrors beyond comprehension. In fact, yes. Let us discuss man-made horrors beyond comprehension. Also tying into wages posting L's because, when is it ever not tying to that? There is a startup company which works in lucid dreaming. It says that people can work in their sleep. We can manipulate it so lucid dreamers can do work in their sleep. Hey, Wagie, you thought you could escape from work in your dreams? Not. Some people are in favor of this. So says Chabranigdo. I mean, if you're going to pay me for it and it doesn't impact sleep quality, I'm all for it. I am not all for this. I have no desire to do work in my sleep. I mean, are you going to pay people for an extra 8 hours of work? They're not. You will never escape us, Wagie. You will never escape us. Never. Never. It's like those, I know there's also that patented thing, which no one has thankfully implemented yet, where it's like if you watch TV and there's ads, it's like the ad will continuously play until you say, McDonald's or Pepsi or whatever. I'm not going to lie. If these things start going on the market, I will destroy these things. I will literally walk into Best Buy, start smashing the Lucid Dream, Wagie Work 9000. I'll make sure not to harm any people, but, you watch. It's going to happen. Like, if you see these things start getting put in stores, I'm just going to walk in there, just shove them all into a crate, run out the store, and just smash them with sledgehammers. I also made that promise about, the sky advertisements. If they ever start doing that thing where they broadcast advertisements in the sky, I will find those things, and I will destroy them. I'll make sure not to harm any people, of course. But you mark my words, I'm going to, Kaczynski the hell out of this. Okay. Shinseki Evans says, I've had that happen. You dream all night about working, and then you go to work. I've been in there, too. When I was working for that fuck-faced laundry guy, I dreamed about failing at laundry and being yelled at, and then I got up and went to the laundry. Boy, that was a shitty job. Ponythroat says, The strangler left prints in dark boot polish. The strong scent of maple syrup was also present. Oh, not every forced suicide is Canadian, sir. Just most of them. Ponythroat says, obviously a ludicrous thing with like 0% chance of working, but a horrifying idea nonetheless. I assure you that, like, they will find a way to make this work. They're going to throw as much money as they can at it as possible. As I mentioned last week, there is a certain, mostly Republican strain, although I'm sure some Democrats are on it as well, where basically, like, if you got them talking for a few minutes, what they want is just slavery again. They want slaves. They want, like, just endless working hours 24/7. And if they can enslave us in our dreams, they'll do it. I mean, they've also got the wagie cages, don't they? I mean, I was at Amazon. That was basically a wage cage. Nara Hari Kamath says, we are new kind of slaves with a giant economic machine. Yes, we are. We all truly are. Okay. Speaking of, let's go back to the American government. Some mildly positive things happened. New York Post says, Americans on food stamps could be banned from buying bad food and sugary drinks, Trump USDA chief says. This is part of that Make America Healthy Again thing. I gotta say this, I actually approve of this. Like, yeah, I know it's so, there's my freedoms, but, if you're living on the government dole, perhaps you should not be buying, like, 2 liters of soda and, McDonald's all the time. And Popeyes Chicken and Don Julio Tequila. Perhaps you should be forced to eat healthy food. This will save money on, medical expenditures. And I think it's a win-win. The poor community is in shambles. They can't eat crap anymore. Oh, no. Although I have to say, there's a part of me which is, the evil part of me, which says perhaps they should only be allowed to eat junk food so they can die faster. No, that's wrong, Larsen. You can't do that. Gotta force the poorest to eat healthy. That'll help them get out of poverty faster. Ponythroat says, startups say shit in the hope of particularly stupid investors with them money to build tax cattle virtual boys, no matter how implausible the idea. I don't know. I think it's possible. I mean, personally, I've never really lucid dreamed before. I did have quite a vivid dream last night in which I was gadding about in the nude while also trying to unveil corporate conspiracies. But, it wasn't really lucid per se. I mean, nobody thought man could fly, and then here we are. I wouldn't put it past somebody to invent some kind of, like, lucid dream wage cage 9000. I mean, the thought of, like, enslaving people's minds, bodies, and souls, that, I think that's way too appealing to the average businessman. Personally, I could never do such a thing, which is probably why I'm not a billionaire. I don't see the pores as cattle to be, bled dry. That's because I was a poor at one point. And, yeah. Okay, now we're going to go to the silly side of things. Okay. In entertainment news, apparently, the Walt Disney Corporation has copyrighted cymbal banging monkeys, or at least the visual image of a cymbal banging monkey, for Toy Story 3, which is why a film adaptation of Stephen King's The Skeleton Crew has a monkey with a drum, not a monkey with cymbals. I don't know how exactly this works. I mean, the cymbal banging monkey has been around for almost 100 years. More specifically, the first cymbal monkey toy was invented by the Lewis Marx Company in the United States in the 1930s. 1932, Hoppo the Waltzing Monkey. The more famous version with the creepy, crackhead eyes that we're all familiar with was the Jolly Musical Chimp by the Japanese toy company Alps in 1954. I don't know how you copyright this concept, but here we are. Incidentally, I'm looking up cymbal banging monkeys. There's many variations of the concept. Cheapo plastic ones are $15. There are retro ones that are almost $100. There's also battery-powered cymbal monkeys. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know why so many of these look like they're feral derelicts that are going to stab you for crack money. Am I the only one who notices this? I mean, we've stopped talking about, the actual, copyright thing. We're just talking about how creepy these monkeys are. I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about, but just look at this thing. I'm going to post the picture right here. Give me a second. If I could find the image posting thing. There we go. Let's go to the pictures of Larsen's shit. I'm sorry, why does this thing have to look so creepy? Why does it look like this monkey literally looks like it's gonna stab you to death to buy crack? Anyway, Ponythroat says, is food stamping what that guy did in American History X? In a manner of speaking, yes. Narahari Kamath says, I used to play Fallout 4 and those monkeys were irritating as F. Did they look like this, sir? I mean, some of these, cymbal monkeys are cute looking, but this is, sort of the mainline cymbal monkey. Why does it really looks like it's going to murder and rape you in that order. Why must they be made so creepy looking? I mean, granted, that's kind of what a real monkey's eyes look like, but you didn't have to make it look real. It's a toy, sir. But yeah, the whole idea of this visual thing being copywritten to the point where no one else can make cymbal monkeys, it's a bit silly. And really, Walt Disney Corporation, you copyright this thing? Ponythroat says, looks like a picture of the Southport Stabber. Narhari Kamath says, yes, very similar. I'm going to go look up the Southport Stabber. Let's see. Oh, it's Axel Rudikabubu Rudikabana. Yeah, a little bit. And finally, in more news of just absolute man-made horrors beyond our comprehension, there is a new video going around about Down syndrome awareness. Now, why does that seem bad, you might ask? It doesn't sound bad, but it's basically saying that Down syndrome people should be going to bars and like partying it up. You assume I can't live on my own. Coach, you assume I can't hit harder. You assume I can't drink a margarita. This seems like a really bad idea. Yes, let's let the mentally challenged people go to bars and get drunk because they're not taken advantage of enough in life. Yes, people who are, in fact, cognitively impaired but not enough so to live with, guardianship, they actually have pretty shitty lives in general. This is very much, something that seems, smart, seems like a good idea. Seems like, this is going to be some hashtag girl boss thing, but it's going to make things a lot worse. Can we not do this? Like, can we not justify like getting mentally challenged people drunk and like molesting them? This is really bad. Okay, Narahari Kamath says the cymbal monkeys look creepy. They're in the uncanny valley. Things that are almost real end up looking creepy. Well, I think it's more the fact that they have like bloodshot, buggy eyes and like they just look murderously angry. Ponythroat says they're hip and cool and down with the syndrome. They're all going to end up like Debbie Leach. I don't know who that is. I'm going to look it up. Ah, yes. Some Blackpool woman was severely neglected and starved. Yeah, it's bad. The video says you assume I can't hit harder. No, I assumed you could hit harder, actually. I mean, the strength of the madman, wink wink, is a thing. I mean, there's other names for it, which I'm not going to use. So yeah, this is well-meaning horseshit that's going to make people's lives a lot worse. And on that note, that does it for my prepared remarks. You can say your last pieces now, should you desire. Ponythroat says she died surrounded by her own waste, covered in scabies and weighing 50 pounds. Her mother got like 4 whole years in jail. Yeah, it wasn't good. Narhari Kamath says, thank you, have a happy rest of the weekend. Ponythroat says, did Larsen avoid the term tard strength? Yes, I did. I call it the strength of the madman. You can call it whatever you'd like. So incidentally, I am looking through like cymbal monkeys, and it's like every one of these things just looks creepy as hell. Like, is there really no market for a kind of cute looking cymbal monkey? Or do we just want like feral crackhead derelict cymbal monkeys? I guess if that's what the people want, that's what they want. So yes, I'm officially done with my prepared remarks. Say your last pieces now, should you desire. So for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.